lay down, never give up. I am a fighter. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor. Even if I fall, I'll be up again, 'cause I'm a fighter. I am a fighter. I'm a survivor. Never lay down, never give up. I am a fighter.
Yeah, we're live.
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much.
You know, I'd like to kind of, give it a few minutes for the audience to build a little.
Okay.
But, it is what it is. Why am I getting an echo? Is that from your end? Sounds like it's from your end. You get your phone running?
Yep. Let me knock
That's
it
what
off
it
here.
is. So we got, couple little things to talk about tonight, and that would be, obviously it was early voting day one, right? And hopefully some people got out and voted. I have it on good authority that over 150 some odd people voted today. The question is who did they vote for? Because there was some problems happening at the polling locations. We'll get into that here shortly. I'm going to definitely open up the phone line tonight. We may just give some people the opportunity to call in. We are not by any means going into conspiracy theory land tonight. Everything that we're going to talk about tonight has been validated. We've made calls to the appropriate authorities and one, dug into the information, but two, got their responses. Phone line is open, 479-202-4053. We will be taking calls as we go through some of this information and talk about it. But I think before we go too far into the information, we ought to talk about similar situations happening across the country, right? And what do I mean by that? I mean, Arizona, they had a meeting, I believe it was Monday, right?
Yeah.
And they... the amount of public outrage, because, and obviously it's public outrage because people, physically witnessed anomalies happening in front of them and broken machines and machines malfunctioning, et cetera, et cetera. And lo and behold, we have a similar situation that popped its head up in Benton County today. So I think we'll go into some of this content, especially there's this gentleman, he's a former prosecutor. And he was actually speaking to the election commission in Maricopa County and he's pretty heated. But I think that, this is a type of this is how upset people really should be whenever they find out that there's problems with election integrity where they live. What are your thoughts on election integrity, Mark?
It upsets me, and what I heard today is just it's troubling in so many different ways. I see this stuff happening across the country, and it's working its way into Northwest Arkansas.
Absolutely.
I mean, some of the stuff is just mind-boggling to me. The lack of systems in place to protect voting integrity is disturbing. It's absolutely disturbing.
Procedurally, there should be some guardrails in with the procedures to prevent any appearance of fraud or to alleviate any concerns of it whenever something does go off the rails, such as the ballot box from the Highlands just kind of going off grid for what I would say an exceptional amount of time, right? I mean, historically, we've gotten election results back relatively quick in Bella Vista and Benton County in general. And to hear that like they're holding up the election results for hours on end because one or two polling locations were still waiting on them to come in, you would think that the procedures would have answers to the questions, right? Like a chain of custody for the ballot box, a chain of custody or a record, memorandum of record, have you will, where it says, this is the time that the polling location was closed, and you have two or three people, maybe somebody, so it's bipartisan, a Democrat and a Republican, and then a third party that's verifying. That way there is no question. Everybody's in agreement that the polling location closed at 7:30, right? And
I agree with
and
you. Yep.
This is the time and date that the last person left the polling locations, right? Kelly Strain, perfect example, right? Checks and balances, right? And that's what I'm saying is a memorandum of record or some reporting record, but guardrails built into your procedures to prevent any fraud. I'm not saying that there is fraud, but I'm saying it would be easier to say there was no fraud when you have these checks and balances in place, right? And so like with Maricopa County, people are rightfully outraged about what's going on. I mean, it just feels like, are we just getting worse and worse with our procedures, as a nation? And people are just expected to believe this stuff.
Yeah, I lost a lot of faith in the system in the last few weeks. The ballot box debacle in the Highlands and that one in Centerton had me concerned. The answer that I received it doesn't add up to me. The Highlands, I'm going to request that I see those ballots, whether they let me see them or not. I want to count every single ballot that came out of there. Thanks
for watching. He even says, how about all the people that didn't even realize this was happening, right? There's a lot of people that are just kind of, rose-colored glasses, look at the sky. They're just not even focused on things that are happening around them. And then one day they're going to wake up and this country is going to be lost. We're going to be Venezuela, right? And they're going to be like, well, I just don't even know where all this happened, right?
Right.
You can either choose to stay informed and actually take an active role, a proactive role. What's troubling to me is this happened, Mark, just like you said, and there's not one public notice or anything. We'll get into what we're talking about. If you don't already know, we're going to get into that. But I do want to go to some of the stuff that was happening in Maricopa County, because this is not the first time. Obviously, if you remember 2020, Maricopa County had some problems with their polling as well. And nobody really looked into it. They just went along with it, and people were upset. But I said, whoa, we'll get back to it in 2022. Well, if you let fraud slide once, what's to prohibit it from happening again, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's people are being ignored. They're going. They're telling people what's happening, but they're being ignored about it.
Right.
You know, and that's the frustrating part. People are fed up, and now they're like, "Well, I've told people, nobody does anything, so forget it. I give up." You know,
Right. And I know some people say, well, if you question the integrity of elections, then you're a conspiracy theorist, or you're what's the other term? You're not accepting democracy, so you're what's the kind of terminology? Domestic terrorist or something.
insurrectionist.
Right? Insurrectionist is what it would be, right? I'm in no way, shape, or form an insurrectionist. I know you're not either.
No.
We believe in this country, and we believe in a country of rules and laws. And it's not rules for thee and not for me. The rules, I've always said this when I can remember somebody jumping my case about, when during the stump dump, it's like when the rules, when you don't play by the rules, when you're not doing your job or playing by the rules, effectively the rule book goes off the table. You can't tell me I have to follow the rules when you're not following the rules yourself, right?
Right.
And and I'm going to read some of these comments. What happens when all of the candidates that are in first on the ballot win? Do we question that, or is that legit? Will we even know, right? Good question, right? But if there's already a reported incident of a problem, right, and we know runoff elections are won by very small numbers, a day of a problematic system could mean a loss for the rightful candidate, right?
Yeah, we'll dig into that because there's a lot to get into. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So we're gonna play a couple of these clips from Maricopa that happened yesterday. If anybody hasn't had the opportunity to watch some of this, I know we don't live in Arizona, right? But whatever's happening, like I always like to say, look at the bigger cities because it's coming here eventually, right? Look at these larger municipal areas, because eventually it will come to us, right? Eventually.
And I'm sure the people there didn't believe it was going to happen to them, but it has.
Yeah. Yeah, they say, well, that just happens over in California, right? Well, now it's happening everywhere. So this gentleman, I think he does a really good point of making his point. Do I think he made a great point? I think he made some very valid points, but do I think that he did a good job? Yes and no, because this board of electors up here, they just don't seem to care, right? Kind of like when we go to our city council meetings, when multiple people can get up and speak, but we just really don't care, right?
And so we have David Clements. Thank you for joining us.
Play this for a few minutes.
If you could please state your address.
Hopefully get a little
David
viewership
Clements, slave. That's what I am
Slave.
to this system, to your corruption. This is outrageous. This is a national crisis, and you're giving people 2 minutes to address a national crisis. And the way that you guys can just sit there, it's disgusting. Watching you pledge allegiance to my flag was disgusting, the way that you sold us out. You said you don't have the statutory authority to do anything. You're going to take a yes-no vote. What does that tell us? Yes or no? If it's just yes, then why are you here? Why are you here then? You have discretion. And when you certify something, you're saying that it's trustworthy. There's nothing trustworthy about this. This is theater. It's optics. I was a longtime prosecutor. I went after drug traffickers. This is vote trafficking at its finest. I've seen the criminal element. You are vote traffickers. You are a vote trafficker. Criminal. What are you going to do about it? You've sold us out. You sold us out. You've sold us out. So we're not here to be civil. You're worried about language. We're worried about our voices being stolen and never getting a fair election again. That's what we're worried about.
I think I said that after last Monday's city council meeting. Is like I get that people think that they can be nice and civil and all that, and you should always strive to be nice and civil. But when you're dealing with people who did not, it's not reciprocated. They don't give a crap about you. Then
Right.
yeah, use your big boy and girl words, right?
Right.
I don't got no problem doing that whenever I see fit. If anything,
I
I'd
guess
just say I'm enhancing my message by using words that may shock the shit out of you, right?
Shake them a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess we should feel grateful, Chris, because this guy only got 2 minutes. We get 3 minutes. So
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Find your love and we got to get rid of that little commenter right there. We got some spam coming in, man. Find your love in your city. Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody needs some love. All we need is love. But, man, I gotta get the Stream Elements chatbot to start getting a little bit more crafty on some of these spam comments. But it is what it is when you go live. But yeah, this guy, he's passionate for one, Kelly, I agree. I love this guy too. He's very passionate like you are, sir.
yep.
So a curse upon you, a curse upon all of you, you smug people. What, you got another chicken farm that needs to burn down, Mr. Hickman?
Mr. Chairman. All right,
Am I
again,
bothering you?
we're
Am I bothering you? Because this election
please.
bothered me. And you're doing nothing about it. I don't care about that stupid buzzard. This is sickening. You have the power as the chairperson to enlarge the time limits and actually hear your constituents
Mm-hmm.
instead of putting a muzzle on them.
No, you got your 2 minutes. Thank you. Move along.
Thank you very
Yep.
much.
Next.
Right, next
Next.
speaker.
Funneling them through,
But they
right?
don't
Does
even-
that
they
sound
don't even-
familiar? This is happening across the country, though, right?
And they don't even they don't even respond. So they're just listening to it. It goes through deaf ears. They're not even paying attention.
Right.
You know,
They've
they
already
could
made
care
up
less.
their mind before you have even
Right.
gotten up to the podium, right?
Right. Right.
Nothing you say will change it. Yeah.
Well, it's like the STR audible call, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we got some pretty decent viewership. It looks like we got 7 total off the Streamlabs software, 6 on the Facebook, maybe one over on YouTube. Probably the Find Love in Your City person. But that being said, I guess we'll go into kind of the meat and potatoes of this, Mark. I don't want to really kill everybody's Tuesday night, but
Yeah.
well, we got together. Sally has liked our. Thanks for the like, Sally. If you guys, that's
Thanks,
right.
Sally.
Thanks for reminding me too to do the public service announcements. Please like our stream, our Facebook or our YouTube live stream. If you haven't already gone over to our page and liked it, please do that as well. That's going to help us kind of grow our show, keep us in people's news feeds and all that. We're not going conspiracy theory land. This has all been validated. We'll go ahead and talk about it since we got WebShare up. So I was working today and I got a notification on my personal email, and it was Donna had posted. Donna Hutchinson's running for city council. She said, Donna Hutchinson here. I'm running for Bella Vista City Council and voted today. My voting machine acted weird. If I voted for the second name on the ballot, it highlighted the first name. So I had to vote again to change it. It happened every time I voted for the second name. Since I am second on the ballot, I was concerned. Before you turn in your ballot, look at it and see if it recorded your vote correctly. So I instantly took this and I shared it out on our platform on Facebook. And I basically said, validate, validate, validate. Why did I say that? Several years ago, I went to vote and the machine would not even let me push the candidate I wanted to choose, right? It just would not accept it. It would accept the other person, but it wouldn't accept when I pushed the button on there. Luckily, I said, hey, you got a problem with this machine. I'm not, it needs to be fixed. I can't vote with this, right? But it was at that point in time that I realized these machines are ripe for inaccuracy. And a lot of people don't look at the printout, right? Especially like the last election, primary election day, there was a lot of issues on it, right? And so having to keep tally of that and okay, this is what I voted for, right? But that's why I always print off a sample ballot, I fill it out, and I cross-reference that with what I know I'm voting for. on the little paper thing before I put it in the scanner, right? But what's troubling is people ask her questions. Did you notify anyone? Yes, I notified the poll workers. Strange how it always happens to conservative candidates. She said she told the ladies at the courthouse the machines do show you how you voted before you end the session, but the lady said to check your paper ballot before you turn it into them. Wendy Hughes, hoping it was an isolated incident. Thanks for the info. I'll make sure to share. Steve Markle, no, it wasn't an isolated incident. Multiple people had reported this. So when you got in touch with me, Mark, and asked me what, I said, here, you saw the message. Right. And then we went back into the podcast where we had interviewed Donna, because, luckily she gave her number out for anybody to contact her, and you gave her a call, asked her what had happened, and then I'll let you take it from here, sir, because you did the rest of the legwork.
So I saw that. I was just beside myself. I said, listen, I got to verify this. So I reached out to Donna and just confirmed. I asked her specifically what happened when she went to vote. She explained it to me, that she was, the second tier voters, she was pressing the button on it and it was automatically defaulting to the first voter. And she said it happened on numerous ones. So she caught it, and she actually said she went back up to the first one again. She had to press it several times before it took. So
wow.
I was blown away. I was upset because I'm like, here we go. This is the start of it. So I immediately phoned down to the Bentonville County Administration Building. And I usually talk to a gal down there that I've been talking to her over the Highland issue with the boxes and what have you. And
right.
She was out. I ended up talking to Serena. I said, Serena, are you aware that there are issues at the polling station at the administration building over at 215 East Central? She said to me, yes, we are aware of it. And that just blew my mind. And I'll tell you why it blew my mind, Chris, is because they didn't even send out any kind of Facebook message or email. Hey, we've had some issues. We're working on it, or shut down the polls. No, they just keep it running, man. And I said, what happened? She goes, it was a technical issue. I said, what does that mean?
It was just, it was just a little glitch, right? It's just a little glitch. Nothing to worry about, y'all.
And I don't know. I asked Donna what voting booth she was in, because I want to know specifically which voting booth, but she didn't remember, because I've been to that. I've been in the administration building and voted there.
Yeah,
so
they got like a horseshoe. They got a horseshoe of polling.
Yep. So I was trying to figure out if she was next to the table when she signed in, right? So she couldn't recall exactly where she was. But bottom line is, I talked to Serena. I said, Serena, there's major issues there. We've been getting complaints on it. We're aware of that. There is a technical issue. I said, so what are you doing about it? Then she told me, we have our team out there and we are doing some calibration.
So they're calibrating it, 4 hours into the election?
So here's the thing. She couldn't give me any more specifics. So tomorrow I'll reach out to the other gal that was out today. She should bring me up to speed. We need to figure out exactly what the procedures are in place. Do you do a dry run before?
You would think that they would calibrate the machines and have somebody validate that everything's functioning prior to opening the polling station, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like that didn't happen in this instance, which is troubling, right? Because this is how problems creep up, which basically bring up questions regarding election integrity, right?
Right. I would absolutely question every vote. The early voting that came out of that, the Benton County Administration Building, needs to be pulled aside. And I think when you talk to them tomorrow, you should be asking, what is the remedial? If we know that there was an issue, you guys obviously were aware of it because you verified that there was an issue whenever I called yesterday. Then what is how do you remedy this? What is the process? And I would like an explanation on what is the process. If you have a known problem
what is the process for remedying that? Do they contact every voter that voted on day one and inconvenience them to come back out and vote again, and you toss those on day one? Or do you contact everybody to verify their votes? Because some people probably are not comfortable saying, well, hi, yes, election person, I did vote for X, Y, and Z candidates.
I totally agree. It should have been locked down. It should have been locked down. It should have been locked down until it's early voting. It's the first day early voting.
Right.
If they knew the machines weren't right, there was no disclosure.
There wasn't no post. I didn't see anything on the news about it.
Saying we do have technical difficulties. Please use the other polling area.
Maybe we should title this episode. Title of this episode is "Things You Won't Read in the Weekly Vista."
Yeah, right.
You know?
I don't even know where to go with this. I'm so upset because the system is so broken. It's beyond belief. But the lack of follow through is just so. It's just. I can't even wrap. Like I said, it's just so disappointing.
Kelly said, "Question: How many people do you? How many elderly people do you think, or people in general, do you think that caught this error?"
I would probably say, I'd say 50-50. So if you get a couple 150 people didn't catch it, didn't even notice it because they probably pressed it, then looked at the next one, then looked at the next one. I mean, these people are at lunch or they're on their lunch break, got to get back to work. They're not spending a lot of time doing that. They're assuming that the system's going to work correctly for them and print it. If you're an elderly person, your eyes are suspect too. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, there's so much blind trust in the system, right? I mean, we if you think about it, Americans are institutionalized to have that blind trust in the system and really not question anything. He said basically no matter who you support, this needs to be fixed. And I agree 100%, right? It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican or if you're a pro Murray or a pro Flynn, right? Yeah. It's the point of your vote being your voice, right? And without you having the ability to have like good, solid, man, my vote really does matter, especially in a runoff where 5 votes could be the turning point, right? So
here's where I'm trouble with this is we take it a step back with the Donna situation, and there's other people knew about it. Donna didn't reach out to the administration building. I did. I reached out to them, and they told me there was an issue. The fact that they were aware of it and didn't disclose it just freaking pisses me off. It really does. It does.
Because there should have been a notice that went out so that people were aware, and then anybody who says, well, yeah, I didn't look at the results, or I saw that behavior too. Maybe you can isolate it, right? But that's how you gather data. Again, data is key to making, proper decisions. The lack of transparency, like putting this out there, hey, we are aware that there's a problem going on. Stay close to your phone. If you have concerns, call us. We can verify your information. Because again, that dial-a-thon activities that were happening on Monday, they were using information, registered voter information, and a lot of phone numbers are disconnected, man.
Right. So this situation today gives me more credence for the box situation that happened up in Highlands and Centerton. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
There's issues, and nobody is bringing it to light, and nobody's doing anything about it. I have no, I don't believe in the system, man. I think you got to go back to paper ballots. They cannot handle this. It's everywhere.
Well, anytime you introduce technology, it's right. A technology that is known to have problems, and then you introduce the human error on top of it, right? Either you build in the safeguards procedurally, or you don't use that stuff that is ripe for fraud and flaws, man.
But this is why people don't believe in the system anymore, Chris, is this kind of nonsense that happens.
Right.
This isn't conspiracy. This is fact what happened today. And
Right.
I can't.
I don't
tell you
want people
100%.
labeling us as conspiracy theorists because we verified this
No.
with the Election
Well,
Commission. Okay, y'all. So,
You're
like,
absolutely correct.
yeah.
But here's the thing. It most like I can't be 100% positive. I'll find out tomorrow if it affected the other location in Rogers. I don't know that. I do not know that. But if it did, that's even worse. So now you extrapolate it twice as much.
Well,
you know?
but the procedures should be in place to say, okay, before you open the polling location, that this checklist has been completed and signed off on by, 3 parties. I mean, isn't that why we have poll watchers? Do we have poll watchers right now at these for the runoff? I mean, it's a valid question too. Do we have anybody just from the general community watching the polls?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to talk. I'll talk to the commission tomorrow.
Well, put
We'll
that on
have
your
that
little
discussion
question list too,
Yeah.
man.
I got a lot of questions. I also called. It was late. It was about noon, a little bit after that.
Yeah.
So when I had that conversation, when they were aware of it, they let the voting flow all the way to 4:30.
Well, like
Yeah,
Kelly said,
so-
don't worry, it's fixed.
I don't.
I'm from the
know if it
government. I'm here to help, right?
What does calibrating mean? Calibrating it so it works correctly? It wasn't working right in the first place?
Well,
I
the
mean,
question
nobody
would
checked it?
right. It goes back to was it
What's the
calibrated this
protocols?
morning?
What's the procedures? You
Right.
know?
Yeah, there should be a procedure. There should be a procedure and a checklist, and what individual calibrated what machine, the whole 9 yards, right?
Yep.
That way, if something
So-
is off, you have a chain of custody, right?
So the other thing I'll reach out to them tomorrow is find out who the person is responsible. It might be an independent company that contracts for the calibration. I'll reach out to them. I'll find out how that works and what happened. So
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, this is
Hey,
gonna
we have
be-
a
this is
problem.
going-
Oh, that's okay. Just keep her going, boys. Throw some duct tape and baling wire on there. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing to me this day and age, this stuff still happens, But you see what's happened across the country. People are
Yeah.
losing faith in the system. Then you go and do this. People are
Yeah.
getting sick of it, man.
Yeah, I know.
So-
It's sad, to think that. I mean, I never thought that this would be happening, But like you said, the box issue. Okay, possibly, yeah. There's probably an excuse behind it, but there wasn't any there wasn't an explanation. It's just it just came in late, really
Right.
late. 3 hours late.
Yeah, I'm gonna request. I'm gonna request. I might need a few people, but I'm probably gonna request with them. I see that box that came out of the Highlands. I want to count every stinking vote from the general election, because I don't trust it. I just don't trust it.
Yeah.
Whether
Well,
they
and there
give
should
it
be
to
a
me or
list of
not,
poll workers, right? Poll workers that work the location. That's another
Yeah. I wanna see
avenue
the
to
thing,
look at, right?
I don't trust any of it anymore. After this, I don't trust it. I want to see it with my own 2 eyes. If I need a few other people, we need to count every single ballot that came out of Highlands is what I want to see.
Well, if we're
I wanna
gonna
make sure it
if we're
matches
gonna
up.
be labeled as conspiracy theorists, then I'm gonna throw one out there. But I find it even more interesting. I'm just gonna throw this one out there that the number 2 people on the ballots were all endorsed by Mayor Peter Christie as well. So I just say, except for the mayoral candidate. But it's like it's I don't know, man. Hopefully this was just somebody forgot to calibrate the machine, and we've put in procedures and protocols in place to prevent that from happening during the remainder of the early voting. And then on top of it, like when the voting happens at our 3 locations in Bella Vista again, and then the ones in Bentonville and Rogers and Lowell, we've implemented the same procedures. But right now, day 1 has gone off like a fart in church, man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and anybody that's voted down at the administration building, we want to hear from you. Any funny stuff that was going on when you went to vote, what time you voted, who you talked to. And we got to dig into this, because most likely we're going to have to pull those back, and I don't think they're gonna pull them out. I think this is going to be the hard way, man. You know?
Well, yeah,
I
they
mean,
got to
I
have to
think-
be cured. I mean, there should be a procedure in place for curing the votes, though, right? Now that they know that there was a technical error, right? They should have a procedure, and the county election commission should have a procedure in place for curing those votes. So that would be a question to ask them when you talk to them tomorrow. What is the procedure? And then on top of that, I guess the follow through, right? Because what I always see is, well, you get an explanation of how things should work, but there's no follow through. There's never any follow through on it, right?
Right.
So when can we expect that procedure to start taking place, right? Those are valid questions from concerned citizens in this community, I believe.
Yeah, I have a laundry list of questions that are probably going to take an hour for me to go over with them, and I don't know how long to get back to me on it. But
Just let her know you'll send her a Christmas card, because after you're done with her, you guys are going to be like family. For real.
Unbelievable. I know. I've called her like, I don't know, 5-10 times. She goes, "How you doing?"
But
So,
the fact that this hasn't been put out in the mainstream news and media, like there wasn't a statement released on social media by them.
Where's the Northwest Arkansas?
It's
news
kind of like,
stations? There's
we'll
nothing.
sweep it under the rug.
Nothing.
Don't worry, we're monitoring it.
Nothing.
I think some people in this chat have heard that before, right? Nothing to worry about. We got
Nothing.
this. Y'all don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
No.
Several
no.
months
I
later,
didn't- I
people
didn't
are choking on air. I mean,
Didn't see anything with the KNWA or KHOG. I didn't see those. I didn't see anything on the news that mentioned anything about that. But that doesn't mean anything, know.
Right. Well, and
So-
somebody left a response on here regarding which location did you inform anyone? But Tina Peter, it's complete third world and unacceptable that this is even an issue, and it will get downplayed and dismissed and shrugged off as a one-time event or insignificant rare hiccup. We're only one election away from Venezuela. It's funny that I see this comment and then we go back over to the Maricopa stuff, right?
I tell you what, Tina hit the nail right on the head.
Right.
We'll see what happens tomorrow. I have some hope, but it's fading.
Well, we go over to the Maricopa stuff, right? And then, you got, there's always one guy, man. He's like, you guys did the best job ever running this election, right? You got 500 people in front of him. And then you got this one
Patsy.
joker, right? He's
We
just
have
coming
the
in and
Patsies.
sniffing some booty, man.
Yeah.
But we'll get past the booty sniffer and then
Works for 'em.
And then we'll bring up this lady. And when I heard this lady speak, I was just, I don't know, man. She spoke to my heart, man.
To become communist country. My family in Venezuela lost everything, and it was Dominion machine somehow. Interesting. First of all, I would like to ask you, Board of Supervisors, please help me understand how can Kathy Hobbs, current Secretary of State, be allowed to run for the election when she never recused herself? Anybody? How is she allowed to run for a governor when she never recused herself as a Secretary of State? Can somebody answer this, please?
That's like
I'm questioning why is
the
nobody
fox
talking
guarding the
about
hen
this
house
over the
right there,
media?
buddy.
I'm
Right.
nobody. I'm just like mother trying to save my family because my kids were taken from me when they were little because I fought for them medical freedom because I don't go there, okay? But I want to tell you this, guys. I feel this like a joke, but please, Arizona, I love Arizona. I love all of you. I love you, Stephen. I voted for you, okay? This is not about hate, love and hate. You know what? Love is to say no to wrongdoing, and please try
Absolutely.
to understand those people, how upset they are. My family was murdered in the middle of the day because they refused to join the communists, and they plot on them murders and evil that is unimaginable. I have friends from Iraq. I don't
She
want to
even
tell you
sees
what
it,
they've
She
seen
sees
happening
what's
at their
happening.
doors.
Usually
It's
immigrants
coming
do see
here,
them.
people.
See,
In
if
your
you've come from
family, too.
a communist
This can't
country
make
or
any
a
sense.
really bad country,
We have America.
you're
Look, this
you're like
flag
the
there.
canary
You
in
know
the
what
coal
that flag
mine, man.
means? We can exercise our freedom. That's all that matters to me. We have the biggest district is 10,000 people. We can divide it in 2,000 people and have voting done in one day, one person on paper, because most votes were oppressed, were conservative votes, because we love to vote on election day, because you know what? Did you guys realize that our vote is the most sacred legal document? Our vote is a legal document. You
hear
cannot
that?
mess with it. Please try to understand. I have so much
Thank you.
to tell you.
Thank you very much. For
Thank
your
you. Come
testimony.
again.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. We don't
Is,
care. We gotta
Gail
get out of here.
Golek.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you dismissed in the
I'm sorry,
middle
what's
of
your
the
name, sir?
conversation.
I get it,
Jeff.
man.
I
You
mean,
give everybody 5-10 minutes to speak, right? Then you're, but these people have valid concerns. The people at our own city council meetings have valid concerns. Dismiss. Thank you. We don't really care because we're going to ram something through, right?
Right. Yeah.
I just,
Well, this is going to continue to smolder, I should say, and it's going to go on through early voting. People are going to start questioning what's going on, and as soon as I get more detail tomorrow morning, then we're going to rehash it again. We're going to have to come back on and go through the whole thing and the procedures and the protocols that need to be in place, or were supposed to be in place, and how this happened, and whether it affected the other polling place. I don't know. If it did, it's even worse.
Right. Yep.
And if they have an independent party it's in charge of calibration.
Yeah. Calibration. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we
I mean,
calibrated it. It was operating properly the way we wanted it to. I don't know, but I think that it needs to be answered now that it's been brought to light. And
Right.
again, NWA Exchange podcast actually trying to bring a lot of this to light out in the public eye. Again, we're not conspiracy
people
theorists,
need to know
man.
about this, man. People need to know about it.
Yep.
It's sacred, man. Once this starts to happen and nobody does anything, people aren't going to believe in the system anymore.
Just, the integrity of, I'm not even going to say it's integrity based, right? I mean, we see it every day. People are just mediocre at best in most locations nowadays. I can remember, I'm old enough to remember when people actually gave a crap, and your work was actually a reflection of who you are.
Yeah.
Right. And if
Yeah,
this is a
absolutely.
reflection of who they are with just, showing up and not, well, whatever, it is what it is, right? This is just my job. You got to have people who are passionate and actually give a crap about, doing the right thing and operating with integrity, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, man. Maybe we're just the last of a dying breed,
It must be. It must be, because I see it happening everywhere. So, well, that's it, folks. Unless you want to hit on a few more things.
I don't know. I think we'll open up the phone lines. If anybody's got anything to say about the conversation that we've been talking about, feel free to call us, 479-202-4053. We'll hang around for a few minutes. Maybe we'll play some of this, footage and let it just kind of roll. We want to hear from you, what your thoughts are. I just gotta say, I'm bummed, man. Day one, I can tell you this.
Yeah.
I've been waiting 4 years for this election, man. I'm getting burnt out. I really am getting burnt out too.
Right.
But at the end of the day,
Well, there's no statements. Nobody's making a
I know.
statement. Nobody says anything. Crickets, 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 crickets. We're only ones on again. Again, nobody said anything about the ballot boxes. We had to call at 11:30 at night down in the commission. What's going on?
yeah.
that
one. It's just
No
I'm
time
just
stamps.
bummed, man.
Yeah. It's a new
You-
world order, brother.
And you ain't in it. it's one big club, man, and you ain't in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like you said, this is opening day of early voting, so we'll keep tabs on it and see what happens.
Yeah, and I think really everybody needs to share our post and engage with people in the community. Make sure that they are aware that they need to be checking. Check. I mean, it's only 4 people, man. You know who you're voting for. Don't tell me you don't know who you're voting for when you go into the polling location, right?
And if it's not right, don't put it through.
Don't put it
before
through
you
that
leave.
little scanner box, man.
I don't
Yeah.
care if you hold that there and talk to them, send us an email, call us, we'll get down there with you and have that conversation. I don't really care at this
Yeah.
point. We need to make it right, because after you put it through and they process it, party's over, man.
Yeah. That's your vote. You cast it. The minute you slide it into that little scanner box, that's it. It's done. I wonder, is there a procedure for requesting a paper ballot still?
You know what,
I
man?
think there is. I think there is. You know, that might be an option as well. Maybe
We just
ask
gotta-
maybe ask the election commission if that's a option. I believe it is. I believe that you can still request a paper ballot. That may be the way I go, you know, when I go in.
Yeah. Well, you can't. The system's clearly broken. You know, I don't even know what they call.
I just
those
don't have
systems,
faith in the
actually.
systems. I mean, you know, my background in IT and all that, you know, I know that basically anything can be hacked. Anything can be programmed to do a specific function. I mean, that's the thing. I'm just not I'm not a fan of technology. You know, I mean, I love
Right.
technology, but whenever it comes to like technology for very important things, that's where I get a little skeptical. You always have to play devil's advocate when it comes to technology.
Right. Well,
You
they
know?
said the same thing. You remember with the Dominion voting machines? It's a perfect example. You know, the issues
Right.
they had with those.
Right.
You know.
Well, and the fact that Arizona is still using them after all the stuff that came out about
ridiculous.
those, man.
Yeah.
It's,
Right.
you know, yeah, everyone thought
Which-
that Trump was crazy for talking about election fraud, but you know, we're seeing, I'll say this, we're seeing anomalies happening already on day one, right?
Yeah.
And if everybody
I-
just
I've
kind of
seen
puts
it.
their head in the sand and doesn't call it out and just, if you're fine with that, then don't worry, man. Somebody will be at your door taking all your stuff eventually, man.
Sure. Yeah. They'll take everything. Send you on a train, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Sad.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to say, because it's just again, the fact that there was no communication is just it just blows me away.
I just expect
blows
better.
me.
I expect better of leadership. I expect better of government services. I'm sorry, man. You know, I'm a veteran. I served this country. I expect proper professionalism and integrity from the services that I pay for with my tax dollars. Sorry. Is it unrealistic? Is that asking too much for people to operate with integrity?
Apparently, it is. This is why it's so important, Chris, to vote for the right individuals and put them in the right places. This is a perfect example of that.
Right.
And again, we need to go and have more conversations and find out what the procedures are and find out where the breakdown is. I mean, that's an internal issue, but now it's on our plate. And okay, I'm going to take that and I'm going to get the answers, because nobody else is willing to do it.
Well,
Everybody acts like nothing ever happened.
You're demanding accountability and transparency, and I don't see
If they
anything
don't-
wron with that. I really don't.
I'm going to lift the rocks up the hill. I don't care. It's going to get done either way. They're going to help or they're not.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Again, we got to find out what the procedures are. I want to see the box over in Highlands. I want to go through the box. I don't care how long it takes me. I really don't. They can sit with 10 people around me. I want to count every single one of those.
Yeah.
Because after today, I don't believe this. I don't believe in the system. I just don't. And I have perfect reason right here. It's perfect reason for it.
Yeah.
So
I know.
what video do you want to show? Do you want to show some more of the Arizona debacle?
Yeah. I
or what was
mean,
it?
I really just saw this whole meeting, man, and listening to these people rightfully
It resonates.
upset, you know, but like it really is like after day one of our runoff election, we're seeing some of the same stuff happening, and I hope that that's not the case. I really hope it's not the case, but I mean, what? It took them 2 weeks to even get to a point where they were going to certify the election out there. That's unheard of, man. This stuff should be in history books.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like this stuff is like it's. When did we get
what's
so
even more-
crappy with elections, man?
But what's even more troubling is it happened prior to that, and they went down the same hole again.
It's like a
I mean,
freaking
it's just
repeat,
cra-
man. It's like that person just
Yeah,
putting on
I
the
mean-
same LP record and just resetting it, man. If you're old enough
Yeah.
to remember LP records, man. So vinyl, baby. Vinyl sounded good too.
If you don't learn from your mistakes, you're doomed to repeat them, man.
Exactly.
And that's what's happening. It's going to continue
But
to happen.
we the people, we can try to demand better, but obviously, the same people keep getting in office, and the same people keep on
Vote them in. They
keep on
voting them in.
running stuff the same way that they see fit versus being representative government. Like that one gentleman, he's like, you have the power. You have the power to extend the clock more than 3 minutes at our city council meeting. Why do you think that they don't do that?
Right.
Is that
They don't wanna hear
representative?
from us. No.
Right.
No. That's
Go
just to
on.
make you feel.
Take your lashings, suck it up, you little peasants.
They'll
Go
nod
about
their
your
head,
life.
they'll go
We'll
next.
let you know what you can and can't do with your property. Blah 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 blah
Right.
blah. Right. Yeah.
Right. You got a little timer guy like we do. What's his name there? The auditor. What's it? He'll sit there with his little timer, and it goes off, and then he
Yelling
has
at
to tell
Kelly to
you-
address the front of the room and not
Yeah,
the
yeah,
back
yeah.
of the room.
Right. Right.
Well, the other question I think everybody should probably be, kind of letting marinate in their head is who has something to gain by changing the outcome of the Bella Vista election. I'm not going to say who I think has something to gain, but that's something you might want to actually start pontificating on in your own head, right?
Right. Right.
Ponder
Yeah, I
that
mean,
one for a minute. Who has something to gain by installing their team?
Yeah. Like I said, I have.
Is there
no-
anybody? That's another question. Is there anybody that has something to gain? That's where you start kind of saying, is this just, was this meant to happen, or was this just basically an honest mistake? But if it was an honest mistake, then you wouldn't have a problem putting out a post. I think everybody really needs to know about this.
I wanna
Talk
see
with your
how long
neighbors.
it's gonna
Talk with your
take.
peoples, man.
I want to see how long it's going to take for the media to come out and acknowledge this actually happened. That's what's
Well,
so
given their
funny to me,
track
man.
record, let's see. It took them quite some time to actually listen to us during the whole. I used a phrase from Kelly's playbook: "Toxic stump dump."
Right.
Right. It took them a long time to actually to where we got any traction. Right.
Well,
The
there's
rest
gonna
of
be
it was
some
just
hard-
you poor people are making a mountain out of a stump dump.
Right.
There's not a problem. John Nuttall says, right? It's not that bad.
Yeah. Right.
You never been around a campfire, man? That wasn't no campfire smell at all, brother.
That's funny.
That was PVC pipe, trash, and tires, man.
Transmissions.
Transmissions, fenders,
Yeah.
you name
yeah.
it, man. Everything under the sun. Asphalt tiles, construction material.
Like
yeah.
like that moron from the EPA saying that she had her kids running around on top of the dump. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, well yeah. I'd let my kids play out here. Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't, right? But even remember when the EPA showed up and then magically the test machines that they had were turned off in the middle of the night.
Yeah, crazy, man, isn't
Wow,
it? Yeah.
crazy how things happen, right?
Yeah. Then you bring someone from Louisiana up to test it. And they
Yeah,
just
we're
disappear.
no data. No, we brought up the what was it called? It was called the
love it, man.
MAML, right? The Mobile
They just
Air
think-
Monitoring Lab came
Oh,
up. Mutual aid from
Moab.
Louisiana, right? Well, what was the results of that? I even called DEQ in Louisiana, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to have to file a request for that, but you don't live in state, so you can't file a request for that."
Yeah,
Give me a break, brother.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is the stuff that happens, man. I mean, it's unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up. Still can't get a hold of it.
You see why?
Oh, man.
You see why I've been waiting 4 years for this election, man.
I know. Oh man.
Well,
All right.
I think we'll go ahead and call it. I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight.
Yeah, we
as
do.
always, we appreciate your support. We love you. We're always thinking about you, and we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully with some answers. One way or another, we're going to give you an update.
Yeah, we will. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Later.
I'm not afraid to take a stand.